Hey guys, this is Loyota Review, and this is the Season 14 updated tier list for the tank items. Now, I want to be honest, I think I did a pretty good job of this on my first round, but now we are here to update this a little bit more, so let's get right to it. Heartsteel is still D tier. They're going to buff it by 100 HP. That's fine. It probably brings it a little more aligned to 100% gold efficiency, but it's just not a good item. Next up, Warmogs D tier, still terrible. I mean, I can't really see a world where anyone's going to be building this item in general. Spirit Visage D tier. Unfortunately, there are 3 really good MR items available, and so I just don't really see where you're ever going to build this for the most part. Frozen Heart S tier. This was correct, as of course, seeing that it has both passives, it's super cheap. It has great stat lines. Like, it's just, you're gonna go it 100%. I had Jaksho here initially in S tier, mostly because it's supposed to be kind of like the replacement of Gargoyle Stone Plate. But the problem is, it's falling a little flat for me. So I'm gonna put it in B tier. I think the thing is, it's either B or C tier. It might even be C tier. Because what champs are doing is there's a lot of good, like, cheap armor items and MR items mostly to grab in the first place. So why would you get something like this over them? This here, it's A tier. This is the bomby version of the MR items. Great item. Like, especially again, if you need the clear, it's not the best MR item. That's for sure. The best MR item is actually, what's it called? Rookthorn or something like that. I can't remember. I don't know. I can't remember the names, but the magic shield you get from this is so high, along with 80 MR. I believe it's 80 MR. It's like the item to build. Like, if you're like a bruiser even, and you're just like, well, I need to pick up some like MR or like some MR whatever to deal with this AP shit. Maw's not always the best option at times. I would grab this. Like, undoubtedly, this is just so good. Fawn, I think I had it in situational, and it is true. It is technically situational because you're looking for the times where, like, yeah, they have rapid damage, but the thing is, if it's like let's say it's Malzahar E, every second that procs, it adds a stack. When you get the full stack, so you have 125 MR. This item is really good, like, to the point where I almost want to put it in A tier, because if they do have consistent AP damage that's happening to, which actually can be pretty common, it's good, like, actually good. Chains, I feel like, because the MR items are so good now, because the MR items were bad, and that left you going sometimes chains for that one AP champ. It's not as useful now. Funny enough, it's not as useful, so it's actually C tier for me. Armor items, honestly, I don't actually like Sunfire that much. Like, it's like an okay armor item. Like, these are not really, like, too impactful to me. I was a little bit low on IBG at first, but I think this item is, as a premier armor item, is getting a lot more, like, if you're facing a range carry, it's a good item. If you're facing bruisers, it's a pretty good item. So I kind of starting to preference this a bit more, especially if you're Cassante into those select picks. Randuin's, there's not as, so the problem is, like, if people are going lethality and on hit, that makes kind of the Frozen Heart a better option in some ways, which is a little annoying. So I'm gonna probably put in the 2700 mark. I don't think it's getting as much pick and play at currently. This item is still D tier. Again, like, 7 seconds every proc. Like, come on, get out of here. Like, it's so bad. This, I don't remember if I put in situational or if I put it low, but there's a creeping part of me thinking that this item might be better than it actually is, because it's only 2400. And yeah, you don't get the like individual stats in this sense, right? But it's it's really growing on me. And this might be better than what I think it is. As a tank, this is still situational, even though this item is really good. And so like if you're playing like Shen, this is your go-to item. Like 100%, like Shen is living his best life having this, and then having like even just like these kinds of options or whatever. But it's still situational. Dead Man's still situational. It's terrible stat. Like gold efficiency wise, it is horrible. Like as a straight tank, I probably would never go this. You would probably always go this item, which is gonna get nerfed. I think they're increasing it by 100 gold. I want to say, I think that's something like that. But it's not great. This good MR item still, you know, again, as you can tell, like they did a really good job with at least allowing tanks to not greatly suffer from the rise of all the AP champs. I think Zeke's, I think I had it low. I have it higher now. I think on certain picks, this could be really good. I think on Ornn, it's terrible. I think on Malphite, it's actually not half bad. I don't think I would build it on Scion. I don't think. But it might be decent on him. Not 100% sure. But the Zeke's slow and the damage, like I said, initially I just assumed like, okay, it's like fine, like whatever. But I am seeing it pop up, especially for supports, that it's like, oh, this is actually pretty obnoxious. So it gets a rise. I do think this Knight's Vow, it's, well, look, I'm going to be honest. I would put Knight's Vow here, and I could also put it here, but I'm going to put it here for now in the A tier, because I think Knight's Vow is just, it's super cheap, it's good stats, and you know, bot lane is so important right now. I mean, it's always important, right? Like bot lane's always like the favorable lane, but even now, because of the way like it's like the most prone to ganks, especially red side bot lane, that it becomes a preference for junglers. So, you know, if you're gonna have carries on there or whatever, and you can get a cheap item like this, it's great, especially for junglers picking it up. And it's Solari, it's like around B tier as well. It's still like not, it's like fine stats, but the shield definitely helps in those situations. And I think I have less S tier items for the tanks, and that's not actually a bad thing, by the way, like that there's less like S tier items, because I'm kind of bouncing between like what S and A could mean for tanks, because again, Force of Nature in the right situation is S tier. IBG, generally good, you know. This I can't remember the name of it. Generally good, you know, like I think it's like the best way to look at it is that you just have a lot of good options. But I do feel like armor items did take a small dip, and that's why you see like this Nice Vow, I don't remember the name, I'm sorry, Frozen Heart, IBG like kind of sitting above from the usual like Sunfire, Randuin's, Thornmail kind of options. So I will say right now, before like concluding here, is that there is a rise of Sundered Sky, that item, by Bruisers, which gives them a ton of healing, by the way. That may make Thornmail an A tier item, just because of the Grievous Wounds, and it's something I've been contemplating a little bit more lately, is if Grievous Wounds items are going to have a spike, because if you get 2 or 3 procs of Sundered Sky, it could be upwards to 400 extra healing, which is way too much to have in a fight. So obviously cutting that down by almost half would be really nice. So just keep an eye out for what they're building, if they're building that item, and if they are building that item, then maybe you want to tech into this. And of course they're buffing Ravenous Hydra as well, just to throw that in there. So again, this may lead to Thornmail being like A tier. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and see you later, guys.